we miss some questions that folks had, then we'll go with that. And you can pick your order, work it out between you.
So go ahead, no, go ahead.
It should be ready.
I might be a while.
Okay.
I took notes, I might be a while.
I'm Brett Howell, and I'm a write-in candidate, and I'm running for the board. I started inching my way up front because I felt like maybe the people in the room didn't have a chance to know me. And what I really want to do is I want you guys to get a feel for who I am, and so that you can ask questions that you may have concerns or just genuinely wonder about. And so I hope that after I have a chance to talk a little bit and tell you exactly where I stand, if anybody does have a question, please ask. I hope maybe there'd be a chance afterwards for someone to come up and please ask, and I'll answer that to the best of my ability. And sir, you with the son, what's your name? Corey. Corey, I would love to talk with you afterwards. Personally, I've had the same problem, the exact same problem, and I understand what you went through better than you know. And where to start?
How about with your kids?
I'll start with my kids. I have two. They're 12 years old. My kids are foster adopt. They've been to hell and back. So they're level 2, high trauma. I got them when they were young, unplaceable, and they are the light of my life. I love them more than anything, and they're amazing. They're amazing kids. You would never know. They're here tonight, and you would never know. That's them right there. They're bright, lovable, happy. There's lots of reasons for that. We believe in hitting things head on. We believe if you have a problem that you have to deal with it and you have to move on. Life's not fair. Life's never going to be fair. There's going to be a lot more problems that come up for them. I've had my share. I know that everybody in this room, after talking with you or listening to you, have had your share of problems also. And we're gonna always have them. That is life. And we're going to deal with those, and we're going to move on. And hopefully we can deal with them together. We can talk about this stuff, take it on, and we'll make things better for our kids when they grow up, or when they're parents. My youngest son, they're both 12, but he's 3 months younger, had a terrible accident in May, and we had some issue in the district before because he had also always had an issue with migraine headaches since I got him when he was 7 years old. And when COVID hit and the mask mandate came out, then the school, would put the mask on, and he started suffering from severe migraine headaches, 4 days. Sometimes throwing up, couldn't see, couldn't attend school, disastrous. So we go to the doctor. This is one of the doctors, but also his primary care physician at Multicare. The doctor says, no way. I'm no doctor, but the amount of CO2 that's going to his brain is different. When he's wearing a cloth face covering, they said that this is triggering that. It's taking him out. They said he can't wear it. I get a doctor's note. I go to school, and we have a big fight. I said, are you insane that you'd hurt my little boy for this policy? So we go through this. We have this big fight. It resulted in him wearing a face shield, which I'm reasonable. And if that's what we need to do, I don't think that my kids need to have special privileges that other kids don't. It doesn't work that way, but I think that my kids aren't going to be hurt due to a mandate from our governor. And so I go into the school, and my kids have their face shield wrapped with a cloth. I said, what are you doing? And so, they said, well, we have to do that now. So I said, no. In any case, this happened 3 days in a row. And each time I was a little bit more upset, followed by an email with bolder letters or a bigger underline. And they ran me over, and they ran my doctor over. And the last day I went in there, and I was mad. I didn't swear. I didn't threaten anybody. I didn't do anything that anybody wouldn't do for their child when they're being ran over and their doctor's being ran over and it's illegal. And they do it anyways. Disrespectful of me. And disrespectful of them. And they threatened to put a restraining order on me and have me removed from the premises with law enforcement. So I hit them with an injunction. And the next day they backed right off, and it was gone. And that told me right there everything I needed to know, that all of this is politics, it's bogus. There wasn't anything they could get me on because I didn't do anything wrong, and I'll fight for my kids. And they're counting on the fact that I won't. They were able to get those cloths right off there because they can do it like that. I gave them every tool that they needed. Every tool that they needed to be able to do it, and they wouldn't do it. So then he got in a wreck, a really bad wreck, got his head smashed in May, caved the side of his skull in. We were in the intensive care unit. He was supposed to be in there for months. He got a shattered face, broken jaw socket, broken ribs. So what happens? I would only ask, because we haven't tried, what happens when you try to put a cloth mask on him then? How bad's the migraine if it's 4 days before? So we get in a bigger fight, results in I have 4 notes from the primary care physician with details saying why, that they're not supposed to do that. I get a court order from the Superior Court, and the court order says do not do it to that kid. His adoption isn't final, so I have DCYF on my side too. And they fought me the whole way. They fought me the whole way. This year, my kids go to school in a glass cage in the back of the classroom with their teacher talking like this with a mask, and they're supposed to succeed. We can't do virtual because he's got brain damage. He can't do screen time. We don't have options. And so I give them every tool that they could use, and they run me over. This is why I'm running right now. My motives are pure. I'm not a politician. I'm not here to sugarcoat it. In my website, if you guys look it up, I'll tell you exactly what I'm running on, and I'll do exactly that thing. I mean it, right? So let's move on to critical race theory. It's poison. It's absolute poison. I can't understand why we all, as a nation, have a hard time understanding things that are simple. If you have ever taken a walk in the woods and you don't want to get lost, then you look for a point high up on a mountaintop, something that's obvious. And as long as you're heading for that, you won't get lost. And we seem to overlook the obvious in the details. We're in the trees all the time. And these stupid details. Everybody is fighting over, I'm not going to bring up a percentage tonight. I won't bring up the 0.00088% of the mortality rate for the younger kids. And someone will correct me, and they'll come back and they'll say, no, it's 0.0001%. At that point, I don't want to have that conversation. It's a waste of time, right? It's a waste of time. We're overlooking the obvious on this stuff. So we get into critical race theory. This is something that's obvious, and for some reason we have to revisit the obvious. Does anybody have an obvious answer for what racism is? My answer is racism is when we make a decision based upon color. And if we make a decision based upon color, that in itself is racist. And if we do that in our curriculum, and then we try and say, oh yeah, but it's because of this and it's because of that, and I have this study and it shows that, and if we do this, and it's like, no, we've laid a foundation of racism for our kids to grow up with. That's their view of the world as it works, and we're doomed. We'll never get past it, ever. So all of that stuff is poison. There's no place for it. I will fight for it. I don't want it anywhere in the school. Life is not fair. Right, as my kids know.
And then we'll go to Pam. 2 minutes, and then we'll go to Pam.
Yeah, I have a lot more to say, but I don't want to take up all the time. But life is not fair. Some people are born with different strengths. Some people are born with things that are not as strong. In the school, we need to address those things, not their color. If we base it on color, what's that have to do with if you're good at math? Somebody say, but the Asians. And it's like, that's racist, right? If you do that, that's racist. It's like, no, if you're good at math, if you're good at science, if you're good at sports, whatever, then great. If you struggle in reading, if you have an EIP, fine. If you have a 504, if you have behavioral problems, fine. We'll address those problems based on the need, not on the color. That's what we need to do. That's what I'm running on. That's exactly how I'm going to vote. When it comes to comprehensive sex education, which I don't have time to do right now, but I'm glad to talk with anybody inside this room or outside on the phone. Call me anytime. My number's out there. I'll talk to you about what I will do. I'm not going to make everybody happy, but what I will do, I promise you, you'll know where I stand. So comprehensive sexual health education has just turned into sexual education. It's disgusting, right? We've lost the health part of it. And so there's certain things of it that are not age appropriate. And then, again, that's a big conversation. How would we keep it out? Let's talk about it when we have time. I want to give Pam time. Equity goes back to the whole simple thing of racism. Why do we make decisions based upon color? Why would we do that? And then say that getting rid of racism matters to us. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. So I think you should be able to pray in school. I believe in our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I'm going to run on that. If some people don't like it, that's okay. I don't care what you believe. I don't care what party you're in. As far as mask goes, and this is one thing I do want to say before I get off of here, because this is a hot question. As far as masking goes, this is insane what we're doing right now. So this is the way it should be. The things should be as they were normally in school before. And if you need an exception, take it, and I will support you. If you worry that your child is going to get the coronavirus, and you want your child to wear a mask, I support you. If you want to have your child vaccinated, I support you. That is the exception, not the rule. And since when would this be the rule? Since when do the saying the new normal is disgusting? And there's no new normal, there's just normal. Right? Kids need to be able to have their lunch. They need to be able to have their recess. If they can't do it, you have options. You can homeschool. You can virtual school. You can go to a private school. You can social distance farther. You can put your kid in a glass cage in the back of the classroom if you want them there, and I will support you on it. But you cannot mandate it. That's where I'm at. And my first name is spelled Brett with one T, and I'm a write-in, and it's very important, position 2. It's a hard run for me, but I have to win. Thank you.
Okay, guys, I took notes. So like I was telling somebody in the back, we could be here all night. The notes I took. Thank you all for coming. I love that you're interested, that now our community is interested and we're caring about who's on our school board, who's running for school board. I know I'm just as guilty as, and I'm not accusing you guys of anything, but I am definitely guilty of, focusing on, who our representatives are and who are, is running for president, and not looking at who's locally running. And I think that, coronavirus has shown us that the local people who we elect matter possibly even more than the federal. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming and for all your questions. And I wrote them down. I hope I got them right, but I'll try. Okay. So Melinda started and also kind of added, that she's a teacher, and about transparency. What I do for transparency. It's funny. Rob and I were actually even just talking about that tonight. I'm like, I don't know if you would put out like a weekly newsletter. I was thinking these are my thoughts. Like, would I put out like a weekly newsletter, an update to the meetings? I agree that the questions to the board need to be answered. I don't know if it is a law that they're not able to engage in the board meetings. Is that a law that we can look at being overturned so that they are able to actually on the spot answer questions? That would be fabulous. It would be absolutely fabulous. If it cannot be overturned, or, some other, prohibition to that, then definitely, those emails, they need to be answered in an email format and quickly. And whether that is, we start looking at, does the board need assistance to help them? Does the board need, and I'm not saying for